Good morning and welcome. Patriot Radio News Hour, Joe and Jason. I think we got JR with us today. Happy Monday. We can't say happy Monday. There's nothing happy about it being Monday. That just means the weekend's over. But welcome to the show. We are working on, I'm having a few technical difficulties, so I've had to come in a little differently than we normally do. So I'm sure it may sound a little different, but the show must go on, and I hope everybody can hear me. JR, Jason, I don't know who's with me.
I'm here. JR's here, too. We're all
nice.
We're here.
Everybody's here. Now I just need to get here. So it was... another big weekend. I was gone on Friday. I was in Oklahoma, of all places, doing some Texacoin things. A lot of big things happening there. Really quickly, I will say, I know I've been kind of in and out this last week, so anyone that still hadn't taken advantage of the buy one Iskander seat, get one Iskander seat for free, I will let you sign up through today just because I was gone on Friday and I know there's people leaving messages and whatnot. So anybody that wants to take advantage of that, you have till today. I will just say, I don't know what's going to happen, but I took advantage of it, believe it or not, and bought 9 more seats and got 9 more seats for free. But if you want to do that, 800-951-0592. I've got another 200 terminals going to arrive at my door while we're on the air, matter of fact, today. So the utility is starting. Our video game, Zero Chill, also launched this weekend. And we had as far as I know, the biggest event that we've ever held. And it was in Manila in the Philippines. And, of course, Iskander is our global coin. We had a huge meeting in the Philippines over the weekend and announcing all of it, from Texacoin to Iskander to Zero Chill to Nectar Pay. Based on the reaction that we got, I would not be surprised if the Philippines is maybe the leader in the world when it comes to Nectar Pay. But, guys, this thing is getting ready to launch. By the way, everybody but Texas are allowed to buy seats in any of our mines. So that is Texacoin. Yep, Texacoin mines are back available. Iskander mines. Zero Chill is our third mine. Now, that, by the way, that's our smart contracts mine. I don't know a lot about it. I know that smart contracts are another one of these crypto things. So all of these are going to be available to everybody, and we're going to do some different price points because we're expanding. We're also going to be expanding more into Southeast Asia, into Africa. We'll be offering seats, and I guess I'll call them partial seats, at $100. So anywhere, obviously, as we know, a full seat, $995. You get a tenth of a seat now for $100, and the maximum number of seats anyone could buy in any of the mines now is going to be $100,000 will be the maximum, and that is for any of the three mines. So things are changing. Pretty much all good things that we've been talking about are starting to hit here. And I will say this week, probably towards the end of this week, we will start seeing the utilities buying Texas coin on the open markets. So do not be shocked to see the price do a lot of fun things out there for everybody. So I know it's something we've been waiting a long time for, and I wanted to get that out there. We've got a lot. Wednesday, we'll have, obviously, our bigger meeting. But, again, I'll just reiterate, if you want to get a buy one, get one seat in this candor, today is it. Last chance to do that. Having said that, gold roaring. It's been roaring. And again, nobody should be surprised. We've been telling you this was going to be the case. And we've been telling you that, hey, don't believe all this nonsense, raising rates and this and that. We said quantitative easing was going to come. It's here. They don't call it quantitative easing, but it did not go well for the Treasury Secretary last week. And for those of you, if you missed it, they made the big announcement that they are going to – they were already monetizing the debt to Treasury. They were buying $15 billion a month in long-term treasuries. They had to throw that out, jack up the program, throw that out, jack it up some more, throw that out, and I'll tell you what they've done starting today to try to stem the tide. We'll be back after the break. Welcome back, Patriot Radio News Hour here on this Monday. So, man, a lot happened last week, and it didn't go very well for Scott Bessent. So they, and listen, this isn't a shock to any of you guys. We've been telling you that wait till the second half of this year. I mean, it was like a broken record, right? When, gold got up into the, 5,000+, silver, was over $100. And then, of course, the whole Iranian thing comes, out of nowhere. And we kept telling you, just wait for the Iranian thing to kind of play its course. There's going to be a monster rally going into the end of the year because the amount of debt that was coming out was, and again, like I said, it's not like I'm Nostradamus or Jason is Nostradamus. I mean, it was just simply, all you had to do was look. Right? It's out there to be found if you know where to look for it. So last week, the Treasury Secretary comes out with an impromptu well, it's really started 2 weeks ago, right? It started with the Japanese announcement. For those of you, again, that maybe you've been on vacation, you've been checked out for the last little bit. Maybe you're just tuning in because, gosh, all of a sudden, last I saw gold, it was $3,900, and now it's $4,700. What happened? First, we had to help the Japanese try to stabilize the Japanese yen, and the intervention didn't go very well. Why did we have to help them? Well, essentially, Japan called up and said, listen, here's how many treasuries we're going to sell. And we're like, whoa, you can't sell that many. Calm down, right? Let us help you out. Didn't go very well. Right? The markets, they had 1 day of reprieve. Look at already, the Japanese yen, 159 and change. Right back to where, they're trying to keep it under 160. So that started it. Then early last week, the Treasury made a surprise announcement. That announcement was, hey, we need to buy a lot more long-dated Treasuries than what we've been doing. So in case you didn't know, the Treasury was selling $15 billion of short-term debt to buy $15 billion worth of long-term debt, because the long-term yields are. Of course, we've been telling you all the troubles that we've been having at these Treasury auctions, and specifically 10, 20, and 30 billion. The auctions were we'll buy $4 billion in a single auction. It didn't go well. That announcement did nothing to stop the carnage. Then they came out and said, okay, well, we may buy more than $4 billion, right, to stop it. And once again, the markets didn't like it. This morning, they have now announced, hey, we may not sell short-term Treasuries to fund buying these long-term Treasuries. We may now start using the general account fund. So if need be, we can buy the entire auction if we have to. So the Treasury's out there. Now, you got to remember, now, what's the difference? So, Joe, tell me the difference. Well, the difference is pretty simple. So the general fund, that's, hey, I'm paying all the government employees, right? I'm paying the military, the Department of Defense, Department of Education. The senators are getting paid, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, right? All the government's expenses. So now, by the way, in the government, they like to have $950 billion in that checkbook. That checkbook runs dry on the 4th. It's either the 4th of October. I think it's the 4th of October. The checkbook runs dry, and then the Treasury's got to issue a bunch more to fill it back up again. But they are trying to let the markets know, hey, stop going up, because we've got more money than you, right? We'll force it down if we have to, and we're willing to spend hundreds of billions of dollars.
And the rates did drop, Joe. The rates did drop. It's not like they didn't have an effect, right? It just looked like it's going to be temporary.
Well, so let me explain. So the first day that they made the first announcement, doubling, the rates dropped into the 4.6s. The very next day, the rates were back into the 4.7s. Today, right now, the 10-year note, 4.70. So even today's announcement does not seem to be very well received. Right now, the Dow is up 70, the S&P's down 30, the Nasdaq's down 200. Gold is up $70, 46.75. Silver, everybody get ready. It is the $69 battle here. Silver right now, $69.01. It's up 15 cents. Silver closes above 69. All the shorts are going to have to go long. They've been battling all last week, started into this week.
Well, and Joe, they're buying when they're buying these treasuries from the treasuries, but doing the buying. All that do is, you tell me if I'm wrong. Yeah. It promotes a lot of selling. It just keeps more selling briskly because there's a buyer. Because the problem is there's really not any buyers. That's why the Treasury's buying it. So now there's more. What they're doing is they're bringing out more sellers, and that's why they can't get an effect.
They're having the issue that we've been telling you about, which is everybody in the entire world. Take today, Trump, Canada, right? Oh, they don't want to be the 51st thing. You know what? They've been ripping us off 50% tariff, right? Okay. Now, what do the Canadians do? Well, what's the least amount of dollars we can hold? And every country in the world's doing it now. Some are doing it to prepare, right? Okay, what's the least I can hold? I got to have dollars, but what's the least amount? On top of that, but you have countries like Japan, like the UK, that are selling because they have to. Then you have China, who's massively selling because they want to, but the whole world's selling. And like Jason said, there's buyers at these markets, a whole lot less than there used to be. But they're like, hey, I'm not taking 4.7 for a 10-year note. No, I'll put a bid in, but you're going to have to pay me 4.8, 4.9, 5, 5.1. Right, and so now the banks, the dealers that are running these auctions, they've had to buy so much of this to keep the rates, from killing them, that they're out of money. And so now the Treasury is going to step in instead of the Federal Reserve. And at the end of the day, Jason, I think we're witnessing the end of fiat money, right? $40 trillion, and everybody and their mother's like, the only question is, when do we hit 50? Do we hit 50 in 2028? Or do we hit 50 in 2029? And, of course, Jason and I, we've already said, listen, by 2036, the debt will be $80 trillion, and everybody but the generally dumb public knows it because it's just math, Jason.
Yeah, and the Treasury buying this stuff is a huge. Let's just scream at you. Nobody's buying. I mean, Joe said there's some buyers. Yeah. Well, I guess there might be a certain price point, but the Treasury's buying, and so I think, Joe. I mean, it's not as easy as we just hate America. We're selling this stuff. It's also just we're going to wait to see if there's anyone buying, and then when the Treasury's like, hey, we're going to buy some. Well, hey, jump all over that, right? Because a lot of this stuff is probably being sold at discount, right? The Treasury wasn't offering discounts; they're just buying.
Well,
right?
Yeah. The problem that some of these countries are now facing is what they want to do is, hey, we've got 10-year notes maturing today. We're just going to buy less at this new 10-year auction, right? 20-year, 30-year. That's one way this happens, right? The countries that are trying to hold less dollars, that's how they're going to do it. But what's happening, Japan, Korea, the UK, France, Germany, the list keeps getting longer, doesn't it? They're being forced, hey, I only have, let's keep it simple. I've got $1 billion maturing today. I'm not buying any. Problem is, I need more than $1 billion. So now I'm going to dump some of my 10-year bonds that I bought that aren't matured yet. And the problem is, 10 years ago, the rates were near zero. So they're taking massive losses. So as you remember in the bond market, higher yields means you're losing money on the bonds you had bought previously. And these countries are taking the loss because they don't have a choice. They need money any way they can get it. But JR, what are your thoughts about what you've seen in the last week?
Well, I mean, first of all, when you look at one isolated thing, the debt, whether it's going to go to 50, I mean, you're being generous with 2027, 2028. I mean, it's accelerating. So I think that timeline is going to keep moving up. I'm watching the stuff with Canada. I'm watching geopolitics. We're going to see how Iran plays out. When we had different states with a power grid, the water plant hacking, I think we're so fragile, and I think that something's going to poke through. I wrestle with Jason and I being on two different viewpoints on the market. I think that it's hanging by a thread, and Jason's saying that as long as we keep printing money, we're fine. I'm always watching for a black swan event because this manipulation is so strong and so bad that any day now, if things dump, I won't be surprised. We watch the financial side of the world. Today, NVIDIA's down 5%. What's holding up the entire financial market?
Fraud. Fraud holds it up. And they can hold 100%. Fraud for as long as they want. I got something to it when we get into it. I got something to ask Joe and JR.
Yes, ma'am, back.
800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason got JR with us. Again, last day here. I know you guys have had a tough ride when it comes to Texit, but it's still here. Buy one, get one. Last day. Then we've been talking about, okay, what's the deal here? But, how long until, and I let JR called it a black swan. How long until the next financial accident happens, right? And they are already laying the groundwork for it, right? That they know it's coming. Right? The bankers know it's coming. The Federal Reserve knows it's coming. The Treasury knows it's coming. And I told all of you, they never fixed the first crisis, right? And why? Well, it was too painful. What does that mean? What do you mean it was too painful? It was too painful. Man, you know what? There's only one way to fix this. And we've decided that, all of that's going to do is put us into a major recession/depression. So let's just print more money and call it a different tool. And when you think about the financial crisis, guys, we were talking about a debt that was what, 10? Right around 10 trillion? We're now at 40, racing to 50, and we always say it, right, Jason, the boom and bust cycle that they created, every bust is bigger than the last one, and I think this one, think about this one. They've added 30 trillion more, and maybe up to 40, somewhere between 30 and 40 trillion, this thing's going boom again, and it's going to be devastating.
Yeah, it's already dead. The market's dead. Just because the market costs more doesn't mean it's not dead. And so I have an example, and I don't know if JR's heard of this guy. I'm not expecting you to, but Joe or JR, have you ever heard of a guy, Leopold Aschenbrunner? Do you know this guy?
I'm not familiar.
I don't.
Okay. He's 24 years old. He went to Harvard at 15. He's one of those brainiac guys. Situational awareness. He's the guy that runs that hedge fund, $45 billion. This is just a symptomatic thing that I'm bringing up about how fraudulent the entire thing is. Okay, he was heavily involved in his hedge fund and a lot of different AI stuff, AI tech stocks and things, and things started going the wrong way because this is the way he pumped up his hedge fund, and I can't believe that the other hedge funds and market makers are not doing the same. For every dollar he has in there, he has $4 borrowed. So when some of his stocks started to go in the wrong way, the investor money started to go away twice as fast, and the debt payments were still sitting there. And so Goldman Sachs did a margin call, and he had to start selling $35 billion worth of stuff. It's the same stuff all the other market makers have. No one wanted to buy it. There was no one to buy it. There's so little buyers for this stuff, but the market keeps going up, right? It's completely fraudulent. Citadel came in and decided, well, we'll buy your stuff. And then they went on to the TV for the next 2 weeks and talked about how crappy all the stocks were that situational awareness was getting ready to dump because they needed to, to balance the books. And they shoved the price down and they bought it all, which this is just a coincidence. But at the same time this was all happening, which was late June, but all the way through July and into early August, Citadel got a major hack on their books. They don't know how much money they lost. What? They're taking over a $35 billion hedge fund disaster, and at the same time they get hacked? And the way that this hedge fund blew up their books and had these 500% gains in just a couple of years was borrowing on top of the investor's equity. So JR, the fact that you say that a crash is coming, I don't doubt that. The reason I say that it has to be timed, because there has to be a story. People are too jaded and too skeptical of the government and these markets, and it's already dead. The market's already dead, just based off that one story. And I know that they may not be a little different than some of the other places, but I don't think it's much different. And so if you're going to crash, look at Citadel took advantage because there's no volume. Nobody wanted to buy this stuff, and these other companies that they tried to sell it to, they all own the stuff. Nobody wants it. They all have a position. I'm going to keep going back to it. When President Trump had his inauguration, all the billionaires had to be in his peanut gallery to show everybody that they were all going to be locking arms for the next 4 years. So, JR, I don't doubt there's going to be a crash, but they're going to time it for a very specific moment. It should have probably been dead maybe a year ago or more. Maybe it should be dead now. It's dead. So JR, I mean, they're going to time it. It's fraudulent. This whole thing is fraudulent.
Well, and absolutely, timing is everything. Last week, what is it, the Clarity Act? I don't know if you read much about that yet.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's the Genius Act. They're laying the groundwork. And we've been talking about this for years. I mean, with FedNow, they've been getting ready. So when they're ready to dump the markets, they have another system in place. Joe, when you say it's the end, when you say it's time to move on, what does that look like? I mean, does that look like central bank digital currency, which they said they will ban, they will outlaw? Well, what is the alternative?
There is no alternative.
Yeah, I mean, it is going to simply be the generally dumb public will have less and less financial freedom. Whatever the system, will it be some form of a digital? Of course, right? Of course it's going to be some form of a digital currency. But truth be told, we will be the ones that are left holding the bag. And I caution you, remember, they've changed all the rules since the last go-round, right? There's no bail-ins anymore, right? These are going to be, no bailouts. They're only going to be bail-ins, right? The wealth that will be destroyed will be ours. It's not going to be theirs. Right? It'll be ours, like it always is. We'll be back after the break. 800-951-0592. Today's special. I've got a full bag, 1,000. These are BG Plus peace dollars. So these are not going to be, worn flat and super ugly. They're not they're not AU, but VG plus peace dollars. These are solid-looking coins. I'm going to sell them. There's 20 in a roll, rolls of 20. They're $1,200. Right now, silver, sitting at $69. So you're looking at, $60 for VG plus peace dollars. So rolls of peace dollars, $1,200 at 800-951-0592. Continue to add it. And again, silver, I'll just say this. Silver breaks 69. You might as well just put 80 down. Just write 80 down. Probably going to 90. I think we will see $90 silver before 2026 ends, right? We're already on our way to $5,000. Gold again, 800-951-0592. And JR, I think this is probably the first time in a really long time that they have not been able, whether it's the Federal Reserve, the Treasury, to control the markets. Usually they can control it with words. When words don't work, they control it with money. In other words, why is the Treasury doing this? Well, we don't want people to know what we really would have to pay for the amount of debt that we've run up, right? We don't want we don't want real price discovery. So that's why they're doing this. So when words don't work, money does. And today, and really now going on, this is the third week where it doesn't seem like, well, the words didn't work, the money's not working, and every time that happens, they just say, okay, well, how about this much? Is this enough money to get you to do what we want? And again, this just brings us closer to and I like how you put it, closer to the next accident. When they call them black swans, but every time they do these, and the more money that they have to use to try to mask the market, any misstep and it doesn't matter. It may not even be here, right, JR? It could be anywhere, any misstep, and all of a sudden you're waking up and going, what just happened?
Yep. Well, and last week, Scott Bessent comes out and says the way out of our problems with $40 trillion debt, we're going to have to spend more money. We're going to have to grow our way out of this. They're growing tired. People don't want to hear that anymore. They want to hear they're going to stop spending. They want to hear they're tired of being fooled. So, and my answer, I know I come off as what's the term, perma-bear. I'm always negative. I'm just realistic. I think the answer for people on a micro scale, pay down debt. If it's appropriate, have stocks and bonds, have gold and silver, have guns and ammo, have food and water, alcohol, tobacco, cryptos, have some cash at home, buy an underground bunker if you're a billionaire. It's uncharted territory. And I'm just very curious how much longer we have.
Right, that's always the question, right? When? And that's the one thing we don't have an answer for, right? We don't know when. We know it's coming. And how do we know? Because we see the stress that's in the marketplace, right? We see all of the things that they're trying to hide. And then when hiding doesn't work, right, they just come out and say it. And that's what's been happening over the course of the last several weeks. And Jason brings up a really great point. And I don't know if everyone tracked what he was saying. But in the case of and you know what, I didn't know his name. I saw the story when Jason was telling us. So I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I know exactly what he's talking about. And Citadel comes in and buys a bunch of this debt for pennies on the dollar. And the problem is all of these, JR brought up NVIDIA today. Why is NVIDIA taking it on the chin today? And part of the big problem that we have with this AI bubble is exactly what Jason was talking about. All of it is being done on the back of borrowed money, right? These companies, and I don't know why, but they're allowed to have what they call off-balance sheet debt. And it is enormous. Just to give you an idea, how much are we talking about? It's over $3 trillion. And it's concentrated in a very small handful of companies globally. They were able to kind of cover up this guy because he went first. The problem everybody's worried about is it didn't go very well for Citadel. Is there going to be a buyer for the next one that goes under? Then we've got a problem. We'll be back after the break. Final segment here. I hope you're paying attention. Hope you're heeding JR's words and getting prepared here. Nobody is surprised anymore. I think the financial crisis kind of was like, okay, that's it, right? You fooled me with the .com bubble, right? You fooled me with the housing bubble. You fooled me with the financial crisis. We're not going to get fooled anymore. It's right here, guys. And too many of you are acting like it's not happening. And you're going to regret it because it is happening. Wishful thinking no longer works anymore. Peace dollars, VG plus peace dollars, they're $1,200 a roll. That's only $60. I mean, silver's $69 on its way to $90. $1,200 VG plus peace dollars at 800-951-0592. I'll just tell you right now, I feel the same way about Texacoin and Iskander. I hope you continue to be ready there. For some of you, it's going to be, hey, I'm going to take some profits down. For others of you, it's going to be, I'm going to build my position even bigger. Whatever one it is, make sure you're ready. Somebody that can help you get ready, our buddy JR. JR does a show on the weekends. He is a financial planner as well. So those of you out there that, your financial planner thinks you're an idiot because you're going to prepare because you know what's coming. I guarantee you, most of you out there know more than your financial planner does. I hate to say that, but that's just the realities of it all. But that's why we have JR with us. JR, tell everybody how to get a hold of you.
It is easy. I'm at 623-523-0444, or you can email anothermoneyshow.com. And I appreciate you guys having me on. I mean, I know I'm not your normal financial person, but I think in the world right now, that's what people need to hear. I think we need something different.
Yeah, I agree. And I think our audience understands that as well, right? So make sure you're looking for a financial planner. Give JR a call or another. You know what the easy thing is? Anothermoneyshow.com. That's pretty easy to remember. Anothermoneyshow.com. And he can, evaluate where you're at. He'll be more than happy to take a look at what you've got and make recommendations for you. My recommendation, it's pretty damn simple. Have more gold and silver because let me tell you right now, they only have one tool. And I think, did I not prove it this last week? Yeah, okay, we're not going to call it quantitative easing. That doesn't mean it's a different tool, Scott. Sorry. Right? It's still print more debt. And that's the last thing the world needs more of.